Hi guys, if you've been to my channel for a hot minute, you've probably heard me say a couple times that I'm on a quest to learn photography. This quest has lasted about a year and I've definitely made some significant strides in my skill level when it comes to shooting with a DSLR camera, but one thing that I have learned, especially recently, is that a lot of big places or even smaller places in general are actually banning DSLR cameras without a permit of some sort. So that has definitely led me to kind of have to also explore the world of mobile photography in those instances where I just don't have my camera with me. This video is one that I've wanted to do for a while, and this is basically going to be me solely saying just how I stepped up my iPhone photography game. Now, I say iPhone photography game because that's what I use. I'm like an Apple sheep, ride or die. But in this day and age, most smartphone cameras, or most of the major smartphone cameras that I've seen, are actually equal or even a little bit better than the iPhone camera. So if I can, and if I remember during the editing process, I'll also include a little footnote if maybe an app or something is available for Android as well as iOS. Also, if it's available on iPad, because I do a lot of my photo editing on iPad, so all right. Is that all I have to say? Really quickly, I fully 100% intended, literally right now it's 7 at night. This was the time where I was gonna go out and film some demonstrations and stuff that's not in my backyard. However, conveniently, there is a lightning storm going on outside right now, so a lot of this, this is going to be lacking some of those demonstrations that I wanted to film. Basically, the examples that I'm going to be giving are from my camera roll, but you're just gonna have to trust what I'm saying. Now, moving into the first tip for improving your iPhone photography, Geiger, which is garbage in, garbage out. So this is kind of a universal rule that basically applies to everything, but including photography. Any picture, it's not going to be able to be saved by the editing process if it's bad in the beginning. I personally view editing as a way to enhance what's already in the picture, but if what's in the picture is garbage, then the edit isn't going to be much better. So this first app is one that I truly love, and unfortunately it is only available for iPhones with portrait mode, so if you don't have an iPhone with portrait mode, skip to this one where I talk about a similar app that's available for all iPhones and I think all just smartphones in general. This app is called Focus, and oh my god, this app truly changed how I take any photo on my iPhone. Personally, I think this app, the easiest way to sum it up is this is what Apple envisioned that their portrait mode would be. From the beginning, from the first time I've used portrait mode, I've been kind of vocal. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think the hardware is there, but I think also in Apple's attempts to make it convenient for the average everyday person, it is way oversimplified and doesn't give you a lot of creative freedom. So with Focus, it's basically using portrait mode, but you get full manual control over everything. And I think it does a better job at emulating more of a DSLR effect. So take this photo, for example, which I took on the iPhone portrait mode. It's okay, I'm not the biggest fan of it. And then take this photo where I basically was in the same location, same lighting, same everything, but I took it with Focus and I was able to kind of play a little bit with shutter speeds and ISOs and white balances, and also it did do a better job of adding bokeh in the background that looked a lot better than the one in portrait mode. Also, what's really nice about this app is you can open photos that you took in portrait mode and fix them all up and do them there. So if you just want kind of Apple to set the baseline and you can go in and adjust the background and stuff more, that's always an option as well. Some of the other features that it does have are kind of lighting effects. You can change where the lighting comes from, and it makes this truly horrifying depth of model that just is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. So that's really fun. I feel like it's the advanced version of portrait mode and definitely gives you a good solid foundation to then take the photo through the editing process than just regular portrait mode from Apple, which just kind of looks a little flat and Also with Focus, which is literally a lifesaver, if you shoot with the front camera and you use Selftimer, which I do all the time, it doesn't flip your images, so how you look on the screen is how you're gonna look in the picture. This app is a little bit expensive with the pricing. It is free technically to download, but to actually unlock 99% of the features, it does offer in-app purchases, and there are several ones to do. There is a 1-month option for 99 cents, a 1-year option for $6.99, and then there is an unlimited lifetime access for $11.99. It is transferable, so if you get a new phone, you don't have to pay the $11.99 again. Yeah, and so what I would recommend, because it is a little bit touchy and there are some people who say maybe they don't like it, is just get it and pay the 99 cents, try it out for a month. If you don't like it, it doesn't renew automatically anyways, so you're not gonna be getting charged for it 8 months later. If you love it, pay the $12 and get unlimited lifetime access. That's what I did. Trust me, I've been swindled by some apps that promise some great things and don't deliver. So I do think that that one is really worth the money. Moving on to the second one, it is titled just Manual. This is a basically manual operation for your iPhone camera. Again, much like portrait mode, I think that the iPhone camera really does oversimplify it. You know, the iPhone camera, like the hardware is there. Like Apple did a good job with it. But I think in efforts to make it accessible to everybody and usable for everybody, it oversimplifies it in terms of like its practical use. So I think that manual kind of works to maybe give you a little bit more creative freedom with it and let you play with like, you know, the white balance and the exposure and the shutter speeds and everything like that to the best of its ability. The times that I use this over focus is really when there isn't a clear defined subject in the photo. So maybe it's just like I'm taking it of the sky or like a landscape photo or something like that. And there's no really reason to have a depth of field. Manuals is great and I far recommend this. Manual is $2.99, so the price of your morning cup of coffee. Skip out on one day and you can have unlimited access to this wonderful thing if you want to just step your game up. So moving away from camera apps and moving into photo editing apps, the first one that I'm going to talk about is everybody's favorite free photo editing app. That is Snapseed. Now, Snapseed is an app by Google. It's been there for literally such a long time. I remember I had it on my iPhone 5 when it first came out. The two primary reasons that I use Snapseed, the first one being the blemish tool. A lot of like patch tools and stuff that you do find on mobile photography is meant for acne, and I think that this is more meant for like more large scale things in the picture. So like take this picture of the sky, for example, which by the way, this was the storm that totally ruined my graduation, but like, don't those clouds look so good? Yeah, I like this, but like, I don't like that one little slice of the roof. It's okay, I could just use the thing and in one swipe, it's gone. Or, you know, maybe it does a little bit of a kind of funky thing, so I just keep tapping it until it looks good. Like, the second reason that I say I absolutely love Snapseed and it is such a great photo editor is the selective edit tool. This is very similar to the one that's in Lightroom. Basically, you just tap and you can go through a wide arrangement of things, and it doesn't apply like a generalized effect over just an entire area, but it selects for specific tones in that area and only does those. Take this sky photo, for example. Maybe I want to make the sky a little bit more blue because it's looking a little bit like gray and weird. So I just take it and I go over here and I select it and I maybe up the saturation on it, and it's just going to change the color of the sky, not the clouds. And it's not going to do a weird radial effect where some of the sky is changed and some of it isn't. It basically has all of your generalized kind of brightness, saturation, all that stuff as well. It gives you some nice filters and grain packs. You can also add text and frames and anything else that you want to. It really is a super capable editing app, especially if you're just doing like really quick on the go edits. And it's free, so literally the only thing it costs you is a tiny bit of storage. And this fourth and final app that I want to talk about is Afterlight 2.0. This is kind of for more advanced editing, like color grading and things like that. That's mostly what I use it for. So a lot of the times when I'm like building an Instagram theme or something, the selective hue lets me kind of change selective colors, which is really nice. So I personally, in my photos, I don't enjoy a lot of like green, like vibrant green. I prefer it to be a little bit more like cool blue-ish. And so that's like one of the first edits that I do. It has all your basic edits as well, you know, your brightness, your saturations, your everything like that. And it does a really good job of also having touch ones, which is nice, and especially is good on the iPad if you have the Apple Pencil. Another primary reason that I love Afterlight is the filter packs are like really good. And you can also adjust kind of how the filter is applied. And so it's basically the possibilities are endless. You could also do things like color overlays, gradients, grain, dust, and light leaks, and all for the low, low price of $2.99. It also is really good at doing double exposure. I personally have troubles with double exposure just because I can never get the right combination of things to make it perfect. But in the times where I've been close, it's looked really good. Now with that, I guess a final kind of note that I will say is just practice, 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 practice. Shooting with an iPhone is a little bit weird, especially when coming from a DSLR camera, because the iPhone really just captures what your eye sees, whereas the DSLR you can kind of change with like focal length and stuff like that. And yeah, just practice, 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 whether that be like, you know, hitting the walking trails with some friends and taking pictures of like trees or bark or whatever it is, or having people take pictures of you and then editing them, slicing up plates of fruit and taking pictures of them, because that's what I do a lot. It's just just consistent practice every day and it gets easier and you find techniques and everything that work for you. So that's another thing that I want to say is like results might vary. I've tried so many photo editing as well as photo taking apps, and these are the 4 that like are my tried and true, my trusted, my ride or die. This doesn't mean that they are going to be perfect for you, but I think that these are a really good jumping off point. With that being said, that is all for my today's video. I do really hope that you made it this far and enjoyed it and blah 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 blah. If you did, make sure to go down there and leave a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. And I hope to see you in the next video. Alright, bye!